For decades, The Simpsons has shocked viewers with uncanny predictions. But are they hinting at something even bigger? In today's episode, we explore whether the show has been quietly revealing humanity's final days or the beginning of a bold new future. Are we witnessing secret messages about collapse, survival, and global transformation hidden in plain sight? Let's dive deep into the truth behind The Simpsons' most powerful predictions yet. Hello, everybody. Welcome back, and welcome if you're new to this channel. So we're going to hop right into it today, starting with question 1. What hidden warnings about humanity's downfall have The Simpsons already revealed? And we're looking into uncovering what has already been shown that we've maybe missed in the Simpsons shows concerning environmental collapse, societal decay, technology backfiring, that kind of thing. So we're going to start with the Oracle and move into Tarot for more information. And I did a full shuffling of all 4 piles here, so they're brand new piles. In other words, from the last couple of episodes, they're well mixed. All right, so the first card here is Hidalgo. Seems to be a card of choice here with The Simpsons. So we are going to go second pile. They've all been shuffled already, but that's okay. It's part of it. We have Tarzan and his mate. Whoop, almost lost control of that one. When these cards go, they go. It's a while for picking them up. Okay. Card 3, Harry Potter. And it's the Chamber of Secrets. Interesting, right? Chamber of Secrets. And last but not least, all right, not really last, we have 9 to 5 here. All right, so to reiterate the question, what hidden warnings about humanity's downfall have The Simpsons already revealed? All right, so with Hidalgo, everything that they could experience, the horse and this man could experience in that movie during the race, the dust storm, the traps set by other racers, the lack of food, the sun, think of a desert and what it can bring, okay? Everything that could possibly happen to this pair happened to this pair. So I think with this particular question, there's a lot of warnings here throughout these 10 episodes. And this is the 10th episode, by the way. There's a lot of warnings about a lot of things. A lot of information about survival within the Simpsons shows, if you know where to look. Not a lot of secrets anymore. Okay, they've put a lot of things out there, but there is, now if you remember in Harry Potter, Chamber of Secrets, they were looking for that Chamber of Secrets. Okay, nobody seemed to be able to find it. Well, there's hidden things within the Simpsons shows, as we've discovered. The predictions, some of them are pretty blatantly out there, but as we've seen in previous episodes, there's hidden nuggets too, hidden Easter eggs, probably in every single show. We just don't always catch it. I think they're saying here that you could literally work 9 to 5 viewing every single episode, and it would be worth your time. It really would be worth your time to do so. You would be finding out a lot of different things that we haven't seen or haven't noticed. Then we have fantasy, summer, and bridge to Terabithia. All right, so the fantasy card is not a card of make-believe or anything like that. It is looking at things from a higher state of mind. It is having a higher purpose for what we're doing, how we're doing it, and doing something kind of beyond the ordinary. Now, the Simpsons, obviously, they've done something beyond the ordinary. They are a cartoon. They predict the future, predict things sometimes years in advance. So that's pretty beyond the ordinary, right? And it's a hot show. It is an amazingly hot show and has been on for a long time. Bridge to Terabithia is a movie about fantasy. It is a movie about childhood. It is a movie that makes you cry. The point being here is sometimes to be able to see the messages that the Simpsons have. Again, they're a cartoon. So the best way to be able to understand or see the messages is to go into childhood mode. See the possibilities of what the Simpsons are putting out there. And, you know, if they are talking about humanity's downfall and any kind of hidden warnings, again, they're probably not in absolute neon sign billboard mode. Not like some of the predictions. These would be smaller, less noticeable in perhaps some of the dialogue or in some of the images that they put up. There's some pretty amazing things within what the Simpsons do with these predictions. So let's take a look at tarot and see what tarot has to add to this question. And we are using the cards that have the bigger lettering at the bottom, so I don't have to strain so much to see. Okay, so we have 8 of Pentacles, which we actually get quite a lot in this position. And 8 of Pentacles is perfecting the process. And we know from, the start where the information comes from. In other words, like episodes 1, 2, and 3, we know where the information comes from to the writers of The Simpsons. They just keep perfecting, keep adding to and perfecting how these signs come and perhaps giving suggestions as to how they should be put into the episodes, how the information should be put out there. Then we have the 5 of Swords. And with the survival card, the Tarzan, he survives in pretty much as the wild apes would survive. In the trees. And with the 5 of Swords, this is just a card of mental chaos, mental interruption, not being able to think as clearly, perhaps, as you would like to think when it comes to survival. Not everybody knows how to do that. If it were necessary, people would be in a quandary because maybe they didn't prepare. So some of the hidden information, hidden warnings within The Simpsons, again, is probably about survival. And then we have the 10 of Cups with Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. And the 10 of Cups is like the perfect place to be. In other words, and again, this is a past card. This position is past. The 10 of Cups is, again, one where you have basically everything you want. It's the happy home. It's the complete emotional package. It's wonderful to be there. But it can also be an illusion. Just like the magic in Harry Potter could be an illusion. So it used to be perhaps that people thought, Oh no, I'm just imagining what I'm seeing in The Simpsons. They're not really predicting anything, are they? Well, yes, obviously they are. And with the 9 to 5, we have temperance. And this is being funny. They're being funny with the cards because temperance is finding a balance between searching for these little Easter eggs and nuggets and living your life. Okay? They don't want you to just put all of your time and effort into finding every Easter egg. Although I got to admit, that would be fun. It would be fun for me. And then we have 9 of Swords with fantasy. And the 9 of Swords is talking about the worry that people have, the anxiety that people have about, oh geez, what if I find something in the Simpsons cartoon that is so terrifying and nobody else has noticed it, and oh my goodness, I just don't know if I could handle it, and just being mentally overwhelmed with the information that the Simpsons have been able to share. Ace of Pentacles, and what they're saying here is what the Simpsons have shared in the show is for us, obviously, for how we live, for the way of living. Anything tangible, touchable, gives us information on money and gives us information on health and gives us so many different things about the Pentacles. The potential is just endless on this. That's why it's such a hot show, because it gives information on so many different subjects, things that we deal with on an everyday basis, things that are scary, things that are fun, just they cover pretty much anything. So yes, there is potential for many different things that can cause anxiety. But again, as the fantasy card says, being in a higher state of mind kind of keeps you from being overwhelmed mentally and having anxiety and that kind of thing. You just need to realize that the warnings don't mean it's actually going to happen. Nothing is ever written in stone. And with the Bridge of Terabithia, we have the Ace of Wands. And the Ace of Wands is the potential of amazing imagination. The energy behind amazing imagination. Being in that child mode and being able to see things that you wouldn't ordinarily see. And, you know, if you want to know more about what is in The Simpsons and what warnings that the beings in episodes 1, 2, and 3 have spoken about, have shared with the writers, if you want to know more about that, you need to enter into that childhood mode so that you can be open and see what you aren't able to see when you're in adult mode. So that is what question 1 has to share with us today. So we are going to pick everything up and move on to question 2. There's a lot of information in these cards, and if you haven't seen episodes 1, 2, and 3, or even the rest of them, but, you know, obviously starting with the main ones, to see exactly how the Simpsons have gotten the information that they get, the writers, and to find out how they do their predictions. I mean, it's fascinating. It really is. Totally fascinating as to how that happens. All right. Almost there for question 2. Trying to keep the cards from going all over creation here. All right. So, question 2. Is The Simpsons' portrayal of humanity's future meant to serve as a prophecy or a cautionary tale? In other words, we're looking for the intention behind the messages. Are we supposed to actually pay attention or treat it like it's just entertainment? So we have Lucky, always such a gorgeous green in that card. Been a long time since I found a 4-leaf clover. Been a long time since I took the time to look. And I find that interesting because when you think about it, that's something that you do as a child, is look for 4-leaf clovers, right? Or perhaps as a grandparent, which I am, with a younger grandchild. But it's going back to the childhood from like episode 1, or going back to the childhood like from question 1. So this one is Man on Fire. Good movie, by the way. Die Hard. Okay. Over the Top. All right, so reiterating the question, is The Simpsons' portrayal of humanity's future meant to serve as a prophecy or a cautionary tale? All right, so Lucky is always a tough card for me because I know what it means when you pick a 4-leaf clover. You're thinking, oh, this is going to be lucky. I'm going to flatten it and save it because it's going to make me lucky for the rest of my life. However, it can also mean that we don't live by luck. Luck is really just an illusion, something that we think about, but life is not about luck. Let's go further here. We have Man on Fire. And in looking at the question, prophecy or cautionary tale, okay, I do believe this is saying if we're lucky, okay, we can defend ourselves against anything that could create the alternate reality that we see or have understood to be, where the soulmate is that shares a lot with one of the writers, okay? That earth is scorched. There is not a lot left of it. And that is supposedly kind of like the mirror image, one of the mirror image alternate realities that we experience, okay? They have things happen to them before they happen to us. And this is one of the reasons that they're sharing, so that we can maybe avoid what is going on or what has happened in their reality and not have it happen in ours. We can be on the defensive. We can be ready for whatever takes place if we need to. This past card of Die Hard says the tower doesn't have to fall. It was meant to. In other words, the scorched earth alternate reality is supposed to be ours, but it doesn't have to happen now. If we're lucky. A lot of the ways that the writers put things out there are kind of over the top. So it may look like doomsday for sure, but that's for entertainment also. You got to keep the audience, excuse me, you have to keep the audience entertained, right? So they take things over the top, make it look just absolutely devastating. And then it's not. Towards the end of the episode, it's not. So we have Witchy Woman, Mask, and Bound. And interesting, Mask shows up either here or here and has throughout this series. So I have Witchy Woman. And this is just another kind of like Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets that was up here for the first question. this is a mystical card. So nobody really knows how things come about. In other words, if there's going to be something we need to defend ourselves against, we may not know. It's universally mystical, okay? Or it's a free spirit kind of situation. The universe does what it feels it needs to do according to whatever plan there is out there. So what the Simpsons share with us, some of it is quite mystical. And we really don't know if it's meant to be prophecy or if it's meant to just be, ooh, be careful, you know. Some things are masked, not because the writers necessarily do the masking, but the universe or the beings that share information with the writers, I think there really are some things they cannot share or are not supposed to share, because that would keep us bound in fear. And they don't want to keep us bound in fear. They want us to be cautionary. So let's see what the tarot has to say, what it has to add. Okay. So going with lucky, we have the Knight of Cups. And this is a card of emotional action, intuitive action. So for some, being lucky is very important. For some, luck means a great deal. They carry around rabbit's foot. They find the 4-leaf clovers, anything that's considered lucky, lucky coins, that kind of thing. It's very important, and that's how they base their safety, perhaps. Not walking under ladders and things like that. In this case, I think this is using your intuition, your childhood intuition. Because again, 4-leaf clovers and children, they kind of go hand in hand. But with the Knight of Cups, this is being action-oriented when it comes to using your intuition as to whether to take something that you see in The Simpsons as a prophecy or a cautionary tale, okay? It isn't written in stone either way, but... And then I shuffled. Look what I did. I shuffled. Well, I must have been meant to, so moving on to the next card here. Man on Fire. All right, so we have Judgment. I feel like with Judgment, to me, this is a calling. And I feel like if it's really, really something we have to pay attention to, we will be called to pay attention to it. And I say that in a way that we will see warnings, I think, all over the place. The universe will try to get our attention. The Simpsons will put it in their show. It'll be seen in other places as well. So let's say, and maybe nobody notices these things, but let's say there's going to be an earthquake. Now they say animals can sense an earthquake before they actually happen and will head for high ground, or if they're domesticated animals and they can't go anywhere, they will maybe hide under the bed, maybe snap at their owners out of fear or whatever, a dog might feel or a cat might feel. They will react differently, act differently in many different ways. There's maybe also other signs. You might see, say, a commercial for an earthquake movie. You might hear about an earthquake that took place someplace else far away from you. The universe gives signs for many different things as a kind of warning. So if we need to defend ourselves against something specific, I think we will see it. We will see the signs if we have our childhood eyes. No blinders. And then we have the High Priestess. And again, with Die Hard, this is just saying that, you know, nothing is written in stone. It may have looked like what the Simpsons offered was always prophecy, and that whatever they put in there was definitely going to happen. Well, the High Priestess is one of mystery. People who are psychic, mediums, card readers, that kind of thing might get information, but it's not always bad news now. Well, over the top, we talked about The Simpsons. You know, it has to be over the top for entertainment. That's how they stay at the top of their game. That's how they stay in the position they are as a show and can continue giving these predictions as a form of protection for us, for humanity. An emperor protects his lands, protects his people. Look at it from that standpoint. Six of Swords. Six of Swords is my peace of mind card. It is harmony of the mind. And I feel like there's mystical things that go on out there in the universe. It's how it works. Mystical things that are happening on the Simpsons show. It is what it is because it comes from beings who are a part of the universe. And we should have peace of mind thinking that there is a show, there are writers, and there's also the universe keeping our back, paying attention to our back. We just need to know how to find the information, where to look. The Star. Okay, so the Star is my card for, in this series anyway, it is my card for the spirit guides, the angels, the soulmate, the gladiator, and so on that we learned about in the first 3 episodes. And they cannot tell everything. The universe, they know what's a no-no and what isn't, because some things we just aren't meant to know yet. And so some of it is definitely masked because fear, they don't want us bound in fear. So we've got the 7 of Cups. There's a lot of things out there that could make us afraid. A lot of situations, a lot of, you know, if we knew when every single, well, we'll go dark, murder was going to take place, or how many murders there have been in a single day all over the world, that kind of thing. We would be terrified all the time. We would be bound to our fear. That is not what they want here. So, is the Simpsons' portrayal of humanity's future meant to serve as a prophecy or a cautionary tale? I say pay attention to the warnings that are given, okay, that we're called to pay attention to. That we suddenly feel like with Man on Fire, he's a bodyguard for Dakota Fanning in this show, and he pays attention to his intuition, to his instincts, knows when to react, notices things on the street that aren't right. He gets it. He follows those instincts. And that's what this is saying too. Follow those instincts. Don't be walking around or bound to fear, because the universe has our back. And there's also, you know, some magic involved in there. Our own magic, for one, and our own intuition. If you consider all the things that you might think are impossible, our childhood self is going to say, what's wrong with you? That's totally possible. Totally. Yeah, our childhood self has a lot it could share with us. But chances are we probably wouldn't listen because, as adults, we tend to really take things seriously. I'm one of those. A lot of times I'm far more serious than I want to be. Just who I am. Okay, so question 3. How are the alternate realities connected to The Simpsons shaping Earth's destiny? So the question, the understanding here is that the alternate reality or realities that are giving information to the Simpsons writers, by giving this information, are they influencing how things happen here in this timeline? So we have release. Ooh. Here's another childhood card. A child here with a balloon. So this is all going to, being our own child, letting our child self do the thinking for us at times, especially looking for clues in Simpsons. Then we have Gone with the Wind. Huh, that's kind of neat. Got the balloon, Gone with the Wind. Okay. Sorry if I hesitate through my words. I try to cut things like that out of the video without causing a lot of issue. They live, without breaking up the flow, but it's not an easy thing to do in the editing process here. All right, so, and sometimes the words just don't come. All right, we have Dr. No. All right, so again, reiterating the question, how are the alternate realities connected to The Simpsons shaping Earth's destiny? Well, I think what this is saying here is we need to release that way of thinking. We need to release the idea that getting information from an alternate reality, as the Simpsons writers are, is going to make that happen. Or, that's not what I want to say. We get the information, it has happened in that alternate reality. So since things happen there before they happen here, we automatically assume that, oh my goodness, because it happened there, it's going to happen here. Not true. And I think that's what they're trying to tell us. We need to release that thought. We need to release the idea that our destiny is being shaped because we know what happened in that alternate reality. Just because it happened there doesn't mean it will happen here. We need to let that fly away in the wind. We need that to just go out of our mind, be gone. It needs to go because, again, nothing is written in stone. Nothing. A single action can change everything. And then we have the past card of They Live. Not everything is conspiracy based. Not everything is about aliens. Not everything. On this card, it says, you see them on the street, you watch them on TV, you might even vote for one this fall. You think they're people just like you. You're wrong, dead wrong. That's not the total focus anymore. That is not the total focus of The Simpsons. They cover a lot of different things. So that's only one of the things, but not all of the things that we need to consider. Then we have another brick in the wall. Tarzan and his mate again. And Jaws. We are just one of the alternate realities connected to the alternate reality that the writers work with. Okay? And they may very well be working with more than one alternate reality now than what we saw in the first episodes of this series. We're just another brick in the wall. So what we might be seeing or hearing on The Simpsons may be happening in another reality, but not in ours. Another reality separate from that original reality, but not in ours. There's a lot of bricks in the wall. Obviously, we want to be ready, right? I mean, not disregard everything that we're seeing. It's good to be prepared for sure, because there are definite dangers out there. Many different kinds of dangers. Even things that haven't happened in that alternate reality can happen here. And then if somebody's sharing, if magical beings are sharing with another reality about our reality, it can go on and on and on like that, right? So let's see what Tarot has to share for question 3. And if you look at the question, how are the alternate realities connected to The Simpsons shaping Earth's destiny? Number 1, knowing about what happens over there or in that alternate reality doesn't mean it's going to happen here. Just because they're sharing doesn't mean it's going to happen. So release those ideas. Just let it blow out of your mind. It's just not there. So in other words, it is not, just knowing about it, it is not shaping our destiny. It's making us aware. So then we have Two of Pentacles. And Two of Pentacles is a balance. We need to release the things that we know, or release the idea that knowing about things from alternate realities is going to definitely cause things to happen here. We need to release that and balance it with paying attention to what's really happening in our time. The High Priestess we've got with Gone with the Wind. Yeah, it's saying let go of those things that you really don't know as a possibility and keep your mind open. Let go of the idea that knowing something is going to create it or make it happen. Just because you know it doesn't mean it's going to happen. But keep your mind open. Keep your eyes open. Keep your child self open for possibilities. They Live, we have the Page of Cups. This is an emotional message. The They Live, that has always been kind of one of those, are there reptilians out there, and probably would be my guess, but that is not the complete focus anymore. It's one of the things, but it's not the complete focus anymore. It's not the only thing that gets our emotions heightened. And I skipped Dr. No altogether in the card reading here. Didn't even realize it until just now, so it must mean something here. So we're just going to add a card to it. Okay, so Dr. No, we've got the releasing of everything. And, in the past, this is what everybody focused on is, oh my goodness, we're being taken over. Our minds are being taken over. And it's saying, no, Dr. No. That is not what's happening at all. There is no tower moment right now that you can say beyond a shadow of a doubt is going to happen just because you knew or know that it happened in the alternate reality. That's an aha moment. Whoa, okay, no. It isn't shaping Earth's destiny. Because we're just another brick in the wall. And with the Page of Swords, again, kind of like an aha moment. This is your mind opening up, the beginning of your mind opening up and realizing that you can see this information, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen. Then we have the devil with Tarzan and his mate. And this is where the fear comes in. Tarzan says, be prepared. Nothing wrong with being prepared. Because again, something that happened in the alternate reality may not happen here, but something else could happen here that didn't happen there. So being prepared is a good thing, but fear is where everything goes askew. If you're afraid, your mind automatically thinks of the tower moment, the destruction of the world. That's where the mind goes. So they're trying to steer us away from that. And then Jaws has temperance. And yes, there are things that are terrifying. I wouldn't want to run into the shark myself. Not one like that, or any. But we need to have common sense when it comes to what perhaps could make us afraid and what we don't need to be afraid of. We really shouldn't ever be afraid or have fear, because fear is just a way of giving away our power. Instead, to look at things from a different aspect of, we've got 2 balance cards here. Be balanced in the way that we're thinking. Understand that there's mystery out there, things that we aren't going to know unless we know where to look. And even then, no guarantee. So no, nothing is shaping. No alternate reality is shaping what is happening on this earth that we live on. And if you can hear little snoring sounds, believe it or not, my Chihuahua is not in my room right now. However, he's out in the other room. I don't have a door on this room, but he's out in the other room, across the room on a chair. And he is snoring to beat the band. So if you can hear, you can imagine how loud he actually can snore. It's amazing. And he sleeps with me, but I sleep hard enough I don't even notice that he snores. All right. So moving on to question 4. And if you are enjoying this series, or if you've enjoyed this series, please like and subscribe and share. That's always helpful. Let me know what you like in the comments. So here we are at question 4. What unseen forces are influencing the messages being channeled through The Simpsons? Okay. We have Reign of Fire. I've had that one before, and again, one of my favorite movies. It's just something about it that it's kind of dark, it's kind of gloomy, but it's a fantastic movie. Okay. Justice. Gone with the Wind. And Postman, the Postman. All right, question was, what unseen forces are influencing the messages being channeled through The Simpsons? All right, so as we know from episodes 1, 2, and 3, there are certain beings that are working with the writers of The Simpsons. This kind of goes back to them. And I feel as though what they're sharing here right off the bat, what I see is that we've got fire. Dragons cause this. I don't believe we have dragons that are causing fires right now. But anyway, we have fires on the earth. We have apocalyptic type information that is being given to the Simpsons. The postman shows, again, it's a apocalyptic type scenario that happened, and the restored United States of America is what it says on this card, and things are being restored, or things are restored, things are being made better, made new. Gone with the Wind is a war movie. It's a love story, but it's also a war movie. But here with wind, we've got tornadoes, we've got hurricanes, so I think it's sharing different kinds of apocalyptic type scenarios here through these cards. And with the Justice card, it's just showing that the universe has a plan with what they do. They're not doing anything to target anyone in particular. This is what is happening. It is the justice that's being, and okay, when you think of justice, you think of law. And I guess we're going to say natural law here is what this is about. It is natural law. These things that happen naturally. There's no specific unseen forces that are causing these things, except for, obviously, the manipulation that humans allegedly have begun doing. We have It's a Wonderful Life, Don't Stop, and Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets again. All right, so we can have a wonderful life without worrying constantly, or at least we could at one point in time. The only unseen force that I can see is us, humans. And there are good humans and not so good humans. That's shown, pretty much in all of these weather examples, we'll put it that way, or apocalyptic examples. You've got good guys and bad guys in it. And justice is meting out justice in whatever way it can. We can have a wonderful life. We can. But it's also saying that we can't stop imagining a future. Okay, if we don't want the bad guys to be able to change things in our timeline, okay, the way it is being done, and you can go back to the alleged weather manipulation episode, we don't want to have that be our future. We need to look to the future. We need to look at that as a past situation, make it be gone with the wind, out of our mind, past situation, and see what we want the future to be. We also don't want there to be a chamber of secrets. We don't want people controlling what we can and cannot know. Again, that's beneath the Justice card here. So let us see what more Tarot has to share. So we already covered the unseen forces that are working with the Simpsons. So in this case, I think it's just saying humans. And they're the unseen forces that are also being channeled, or that the Simpsons are talking about in their cartoon in different episodes of how humans can be a problem as well. So with Reign of Fire, we've got the Hanged Man. So this is just saying a change of perspective, okay? It doesn't have to be a manipulated situation. Some of this is natural. or used to be. The Hierophant, we've got wise counsel here. We've got wise counsel, wise universe, wise counsel for the universe, making justified decisions here. Six of Cups. That's a nostalgia card. Back to childhood again. Being able to see the future as a child once did. So if you start thinking, oh geez, we're doomed, they're asking you to go back to childhood and imagine what you wanted your future to look like. Then we have death or transformation. So the manipulation part of things that humans are doing that we do see on The Simpsons, okay? The universe is saying we need to transform that. We need to change it. If we want to have a wonderful life, we need to change it. Nine of Wands. That's the powerful energy. That's what's going to make a difference to some of the things that are being predicted or some of the things that are happening, such as the volcanoes and the forest fires and the tornadoes and the hurricanes and the sicknesses. And anyway, those are all man-made or manipulated, allegedly, things. If we want to have a wonderful life, the energy that we need to put forth is the energy of powerful imagination, powerful manifesting. And we have the Seven of Wands here with the don't stop. Seven of Wands is an energy of defense. So part of the way to counteract what's happening on the earth right now and what is being channeled to the Simpsons shows, the Simpsons writers, is we can defend our planet against the humans who are doing all of this. Ten of Pentacles, this is the legacy card. We don't want a chamber of secrets. We want a legacy that is a beautiful place to be. That's what we want. So unseen forces aren't necessarily beyond the veil forces. They are the humans that are doing their best to destroy where we live now. And the Simpsons have a lot of shows on that as well. Sometimes they use the cover of aliens. Sometimes they use the cover of robots. And sometimes, I don't know if they've ever used bugs. Anyway, there are many different ways that they show that it's a human situation and not caused by something otherworldly. All right, so get these picked up and move on to question 5. Sometimes these cards are so slippery, they're difficult to grab a hold of, or the piles anyway. They want to slide. I don't like that cut. Okay. And last but not least there. All right, so question 5. What ultimate outcome is humanity moving toward according to the Simpsons timeline? Is it collapse or is it rebirth? Are we doomed, or can we change the course of things? Okay, so we have what a feeling. And we have, there it is, It's a Wonderful Life again. The Last Samurai. Gilda. All right, so this is pretty straightforward here. Again, what ultimate outcome is humanity moving toward according to the Simpsons timeline? Collapse or rebirth? It's kind of the heart of the entire series, pretty much, I think. And where are the clues pointing? Are we doomed or not? So we have What a Feeling here. This is a card about owning your power. It comes from the movie Flashdance. If you've never seen that, it is great music, for one, and it is the story of one's own power, what it can do. So they're telling you right here, own your own power, because then you can achieve pretty much anything. That's part of the wonderful life that we could create on this earth. We don't have to be the last humans. The human race doesn't have to die, because we really are one of a kind. There's a lot about us that they say aliens and that kind of thing don't like, because they don't have things that we do, such as feelings, such as a heart, such as intuition. We have dreams, bird box, and bound again. All right, so own our own power, because then we can achieve anything, including this wonderful life. We don't have to, it doesn't have to be the end of humanity. So I think they're saying doomsday here is not an issue. We are unique individuals, all of us. We have dreams, we have fears, and sometimes we can be bound to that. But we can also be bound to the wonderful life. And as you see, the wonderful life is above bound. It would be best to be bound to the wonderful life and not the fears. This says don't open your eyes, because if you open your eyes, you might see something that you don't want to see. You might see something that is about this, being humanity no longer existing. It's kind of what this is about too, in a way. We want to be bound to the wonderful life and the dreams that we want, not the bad things. So let's see where the tarot take us. So my Chihuahua just moved into my room and he's very close to me right now. So we'll see if his snoring takes over. So we have the Knight of Swords. This is taking action with your own thinking. Okay, so own your own power. Think about what you want to be and put it into action. Think about how powerful you are and what you want to achieve, and put it in your mind and put it into action. The Empress. She is the ultimate creator. Whatever it is that you want that's beautiful in your life, put it into action, put it in your mind, put it into action, and create it. And the Three of Wands. This one can go two ways. Your ship is either coming in or your ship is going out. Since they have the Last Samurai underneath of there, the race did not end. A lot of people died, but the race did not end. So this card, you can plan for the future. It's okay to plan for the future. Eight of Cups with Gilda. And we are unique individuals as Gilda. There was never anyone like you, so to speak. So we're all individual, wonderful individuals. But there are those who would like to walk away from what they feel. They would like to walk away from humanity in general, because some of humanity is very disappointing, as we talked about in the last question. We have Judgment. So sometimes our dreams are calling us to something specific about how to own our power, how to reach this wonderful life. Sometimes our dreams are the catalyst for those. The Lovers. Here's our choice. Open your eyes or don't. If you don't open your eyes, you're never going to be able to see what is in front of you, see what's happening, and own your own power to achieve what you want. If you do open your eyes, you'll see things that you might not be okay with. But then you can make your choice. And we've got the Devil here again, which is fear. Giving away your power. Being bound to the bad things, not the good things. So in essence, I think it comes down to, for some, there will be a collapse. That's all they're going to see. For others, there is going to be a rebirth, because that is what they see. That is what they feel. That is what they want. There's two manifestations. And there is the scenario again about the earth splitting in two. And I said this in a previous episode. The earth splitting in two. And one part of the earth is still going through the horrors that we saw, all the bad things. And then the other side is where we're those who want to open their eyes and want to create the beautiful world, the light workers and the star seeds and all those who are working to ascend, go to, so that they can own their power and create a beautiful earth. They're two totally different earths. Now that might be metaphor, but for this question, it works very, very well. The ultimate outcome that we're moving toward is going to be in your mind. You have to decide your choice, whether you want it to be a good thing in your mind or a not so good thing in your mind. If you want to be fearful and bound to bad things all the time and that's all you pay attention to, that's what your world will be. Your world will be one of collapse. If you want to look at things set in your mind that you are a powerful individual and you can have a wonderful life, you can create what you want, and that you're unique, and that's a great thing, and you refuse to believe that humanity is going to end and you have dreams, you'll open your eyes. You'll see what can be improved upon. All right, so we have coming up here a bonus question. At least that's what I call it. Could also be called question 6. But just one that I hadn't planned on that kind of popped in. So let us... Oop, forgot that one. Something about those little cards that I forget them quite often, actually. All right. Almost there. Yeah, see, I did it again. There's another one. Sitting right on there. In plain sight. All right, so the bonus question. This is kind of cute. If Homer, the character from Simpsons, had one final warning to give humanity, what would it be? This is definitely different. All right. We have Bird box. Oh, look at that. See, they just fly right out of there. So we're just going to gather them up the best we can here. There we go. That was a little easier than I expected. All right. So we have bird box first. And what else do you have to say, Homer? Okay, we have Hunger Games. If you think about, oh, we got volcano. If you think about Homer's personality, if you've been one to watch The Simpsons, Homer's personality, I believe there's one episode where everything he does works out amazingly well. And it is the bane of somebody, I can't remember who, just no matter what they did, Homer always came out on top. And it's because I think he doesn't overthink things. He just reacts. That's Homer. He just does. It's, oh, I want a sandwich. Goes and gets a sandwich. Oh, I want to go bowling. He goes bowling. There's no heavy planning. Okay. So anyway, we have for, if Homer had one final warning to give humanity, what would it be? We have bird box again. And I think he's saying, it says here, don't open your eyes. He's warning you of what can happen if you don't open your eyes and see that the world is watching. Okay? That there are games afoot, games going on. And things could get hotter than hell, which is volcano, hotter than hell. Things could get very hot if you keep your eyes closed. But he's saying, you need to see. Okay, now you see me. If you've kept your eyes closed, there's games afoot. And things are on fire. But you need to open your eyes. You need to see it. This is what he's saying. 9 to 5. Yeah, nobody ever rests. Not when they're in the mode of destruction. And we have the horse with no name and the Karate Kid. All right, so again, he's showing two things here. The bird box, which if you haven't seen that, it really was kind of a terrifying movie. And it showed a side of Sandra Bullock that was, she played a great part, I will say. But it was a terrifying movie. So is The Hunger Games. Just the idea of what can happen in those movies, okay? Both of them are very hot movies, or at least they were for quite a while. And Now You See Me is a movie about magicians and illusion, okay? So Homer is telling us that bad things can happen. We need to see them for what they are. And the bad guys work 9 to 5. Or even longer, okay? Their day jobs take precedence. And the day jobs that they have are not bad day jobs because they are planning the next destruction, so to speak, allegedly. Homer is saying, embrace life as it is, with the horse with no name. Says, embrace life as is, as he does. Take it moment by moment in the now. And know that what's in your heart and in your mind can shape your daily life. It's, in Homer's mind, it's simple. Think it, or want it, think it, do it. Want it, think it, do it. All right, so, going to tarot here. And really, I don't think he, as a character, I don't think he really thinks very deeply on any of this. But he is telling us, you need to see it. See it for what it is. But don't live it necessarily. Don't live it. And so with Bird Box, we have 7 of Pentacles. Yeah, this one, he's planting the seed here. Homer's planting the seed here. Something for us to consider about life. Wheel of Fortune, that anything can happen. Yes, this Bird Box scenario could happen. Yes, the Hunger Games could happen. We've got Page of Cups with Volcano. Could be the beginning of something emotional. The Empress. Thinking about these things could create them, manifest them. But he's saying see life as something good. 4 of Cups. I think this is a be thankful card. Be thankful for what you have. If you have a job, be thankful. Even if it's a 9-to-5 job that you really don't like, if you have a job, be thankful. 6 of Wands. Recognize life for what it is. Embrace it for what it is. 8 of Swords. You're not a victim. You're not a victim. It's the 8 of Swords. Your mind is telling you you're in a cage. You have no power over what's happening in the world. Not true, Homer says. If your mind thinks it and your heart feels it, embrace it and do it. Make it a part of your daily life, whatever that is. Yeah, so simple message from Homer. Don't dwell in the could-be's. Embrace the now. Think it, feel it, do it. All right, so that is it. Coming next week, we have a new 10-week tarot series that takes the place of the Simpsons predictions, that is inspired by Stranger Things. If you are familiar with that show, episode 1 will explore the origin energies, the hidden messages, and the psychological truths that are perhaps embedded in Stranger Things creation. What's real, what's imagined, and what's secretly being revealed in the show. So I hope you will join me for that next 10 episode series. We also have a change in the Fringe episode series that X-Files will be taking over for that series. And then, of course, Twilight Zone continues as is for many, many more episodes. So I'd like to say thank you so much for being a part of the Simpsons prediction series. I hope you will join me for the other ones. Schedule has been up on the screen for you. So until next time, have a fantastic week. Take care.